Things change fast in the NFL, and that was recently evident with the Pittsburgh Steelers. In a span of a week, people went from calling for Mike Tomlin's job to the longtime head coach blowing a kiss at the camera. The NFL is truly a week-to-week league, and this week, the Steelers won a huge game against the Baltimore Ravens and now sit atop the AFC North. With just 4 weeks left in the regular season, Sunday's win did wonders for the 7-6 Steelers. They are currently in possession of a top-4 playoff seed, and they control their own destiny. With Week 14 now complete, the AFC playoff picture was shaken up again, but Pittsburgh is finally in a favorable spot. Updated AFC playoff picture after the Pittsburgh Steelers win over the Baltimore Ravens. 1. Denver Broncos 11-2. 2. New England Patriots 11-2. 3. Jacksonville Jaguars 9-4. 4. Pittsburgh Steelers 7-6. 5. Los Angeles Chargers 9-4. 6. Buffalo Bills 9-4. 7. Houston Texans 8-5. 8. Indianapolis Colts 8-5. 9. Baltimore Ravens 6-7. 10. Kansas City Chiefs 6-7. 11. Miami Dolphins 6-7. 12. Cincinnati Bengals 4-9. The Steelers, after claiming the top spot in the AFC North, are currently the number 4 seed. It's no surprise that Pittsburgh's 7-6 record is the worst for a division leader, but it doesn't even matter because it'll still get the Steelers in the playoffs and a home postseason game. If the playoffs started now, after Week 14, Pittsburgh would be hosting the 9-4 Los Angeles Chargers in a wild card game. The playoffs don't start now, though, and the Steelers will have to hold on to their division lead for 4 more games. To close the season, Pittsburgh will play the Miami Dolphins, Detroit Lions, Cleveland Browns, and Baltimore Ravens. Winning this 4-game stretch won't be easy. The Steelers have the Dolphins, who have won 4 straight, the 8-5 Lions, a road game against a divisional opponent in Cleveland, and what could end up being a de facto AFC North championship in Week 18 against the Ravens. It'll be tough, but NFL.com gives the Steelers a 66% chance of making the playoffs. Pittsburgh has been up and down this season, but they can't afford that kind of inconsistency down the stretch of a season. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks coach Tom Arth is being floated as a potential candidate for a high school head coaching job in Ohio. Arth, who is from Cleveland, played high school football at St. Ignatius High School before going on to John Carroll in college. He later became an NFL quarterback and then went into coaching, starting at John Carroll, where he eventually became the head coach in 2013. In some new odds posted by Anthony Lima in Cleveland, Arth is listed as a potential candidate for the job. While Steelers quarterbacks coach to high school head coach is a steep drop, the St. Ignatius job is one where Arth could be drawn to given he played there. Former St. Ignatius head coach Ryan Franzinger resigned from the position in November after going 5-29 in 3 years with the program, opening up the job. The school has conducted its search over the last month, and there has been no concrete reporting linking Arth to the gig. Arth has been a head coach 3 times over his coaching career at John Carroll, Chattanooga, and Akron. Yet, he has never been a high school head coach, and with his gig in the NFL, it seems less likely he would bite at that chance. It's not every day that Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin delivers headline-making quotes during his weekly press conference. After the Steelers defeated the Baltimore Ravens in Week 14, many in Baltimore were furious with the referees. The call on the field was correct that Isaiah likely didn't complete the catch in the end zone for the go-ahead score, but they don't want to hear it. Even the Ravens head coach, John Harbaugh, wasn't happy with the explanation he received for the call in the game. It's one thing to complain, but reports suggest that Harbaugh escalated the issue within the league in an attempt to discuss the decision. He wasn't trying to overturn the call after the game, but he was furious that Likely's catch wasn't counted. Tomlin can't understand why anyone would waste time on it. You know, it's always been debatable, it seems like. I've just learned to kind of move on, to be quite honest with you. I moved on from Jesse James, for example, Tomlin commented. I don't even know what year that was. There are going to be controversial calls in big games. There's little point in consulting the top NFL referees after the game. According to the league's rulebook, Likely's attempted catch did not meet the NFL's official definition of a catch. Tomlin has been on the negative end of what is a catch and what isn't. He knows this pendulum can swing back and forth, but he won't make excuses for a loss. Steelers HC Mike Tomlin just threw some bitter words towards rival John Harbaugh. At the end of the day, the Ravens failed themselves. They had plenty of opportunities throughout the game to discount the idea of a comeback. They couldn't secure enough points despite moving the ball multiple times. They found ways to lose, while the Steelers secured the win. While the likely controversy won't end anytime soon, Baltimore had countless chances to find a way to victory. Tomlin's most memorable quote came when he took a jab at Harbaugh. While he wasn't named directly, Pittsburgh's head coach dismissed the idea of appealing to the league as pointless. A thought that won't change the outcome. At that point, you are wasting your breath, and that's what Harbaugh did. The Steelers won, and Tomlin's right. It's time to move on with the season. I think I always focus my energy on making enough plays to minimize that in terms of determining the outcome of the game. That's why you won't hear me calling New York post-game for explanations and things of that nature, said Tomlin. You guys asked me that maybe earlier in the year regarding something. It's not going to change the outcome. The NFL's catch rule might need to change, but don't count on it. The Steelers have been cursed with this situation since Jesse James dropped that infamous pass against the New England Patriots years ago. Nothing has altered that rule since then, even though Tomlin remains on the competition committee. Stop using the complaints. Find a way to win the game regardless. Tomlin stated, I just work to keep moving, and I just like to put together a comprehensive enough plan and make enough plays where the game's outcome doesn't hinge on one play or a couple of plays. It was a hard-fought game between the Ravens and Steelers this past Sunday. At the end of the day, Pittsburgh won the game 27-22, and Baltimore can't take that away from them, no matter how much they complain. The likely controversy may linger, but make no mistake, the Ravens had plenty of chances to win this game. They're using the likely situation as an excuse. The Pittsburgh Steelers' 2024 season was a tale of promise undone by a brutal finish. A 10-7 record was good enough to reach the playoffs for the second straight year, but it ended the same painful way Steelers fans have come to know all too well, a one-and-done postseason exit. A 28-14 wild-card loss to the rival Baltimore Ravens not only extended Pittsburgh's playoff losing streak, it underscored growing concerns about the franchise's direction under longtime head coach Mike Tomlin. What made 2024 sting even more was how close the Steelers were to something bigger. At 10-3, they controlled the AFC North and looked poised to host a playoff game. For losses later, including defeats to the Eagles and Ravens, Pittsburgh collapsed into a road wild card matchup and another early offseason. Once again, a season that felt full of potential ended with familiar frustration. During the 2024 regular season, the Steelers did enough to stay relevant, finishing 10-7 and second in the AFC North. On paper, it was another successful year, double-digit wins and a playoff berth. In reality, it felt hollow. Losing the final 4 games erased any momentum and turned a potential division title into yet another uphill postseason climb. The wild-card loss to Baltimore marked Pittsburgh's 6th straight playoff defeat, all coming in one-and-done fashion. Even more concerning is how familiar the script has become, sneaking into the playoffs, facing a tougher opponent, and entering January with a sense that the Steelers don't truly belong in the conversation. For a franchise built on postseason standards, that mindset is alarming. Will history repeat itself again? Fast forward to 2025, and warning signs are already flashing. Pittsburgh jumped out to a 4-1 start before mid-season struggles left them at 6-6, tied with the Ravens. A critical road win at M&T Bank Stadium helped the Steelers keep the AFC North lead, but the margin for error is razor-thin. A repeat of last season's late collapse would almost certainly send them home again on Wild Card Weekend. The path forward is simple but unforgiving. A strong finish, something like 4-0 or 3-1, would secure a playoff spot without help and likely deliver a home playoff game. Anything less invites chaos, reliance on other teams, and renewed doubts about whether this group can take the next step. After 6 straight playoff losses, multiple seasons of backing into the postseason, and a growing belief that Pittsburgh enters January with no real chance, the pressure is mounting. The final 4 weeks of the season and the playoff game that follows may determine more than just wins and losses. They may ultimately decide Mike Tomlin's long-term future in Pittsburgh and whether the Steelers can finally change a postseason narrative that has lingered far too long.